my name is Tori Smith, and I would like to do the second report of the day. Today is Wednesday, the 16th of March, and today 79 children were murdered in 4 locations. And then I also have some extra information about what's going on with the process of the dark side here on Earth, who are really the Nazis, who have all basically moved to America. Over 90% of Nazi soldiers, Nazi scientists, and Nazi war criminals are here in the United States. They're just in different bodies. And some of these people who work directly for Adolf Hitler are now in male bodies that are pretending to be Jewish. And that dude from Israel, I just forgot his name, Benjamin Netanyahu is one of them. He was a man that worked directly for Adolf Hitler, literally. And then he was moved to a new body, and now he's pretending to be Jewish, but he continues to murder. He's murdered hundreds of Palestinian children while raping them. And today was actually 2 groups. 76 children were brought to America by AFRICOM from Sudan. And these children were orphaned when their parents were murdered by HIV, which is a DARPA creation. And I say murdered by HIV because HIV is a biological weapon that was created in a DARPA lab by these 2 males who called themselves Doug and Scott, but they were really technically called tall whites, which, well, not technically, but technically they were insectians, I'm sorry, and people colloquially call this species tall whites. Because I have so much trouble. I have trouble with names anyway. I used to work in food and beverage, and I've served over 150,000 people food and cocktails, mostly cocktails, but I could never remember anybody's names. And even now that I'm a DNA reader, I still have trouble. Names are always really difficult for me for some reason. I don't know why. And on these children, these 76 children brought from Africa, 11 AFRICOM males raped the children in Africa, and 24 of these children were raped by 11 men, and then 16 more males raped another 18 children on the plane here. And they were delivered to Langley Air Force Base, which is the same as the other day. I forgot to write it down. And then then there's also a MILAB in Langley, Virginia, and that's where the Criminals in Action, the CIA, that's their American division headquarters. But the real CIA headquarters is at the bottom of Lake Geneva in France, Switzerland. And then all 76 of these children were gang raped by a group of 136 Air Force males, and then they were delivered to the MILAB child trafficking operation. And all these children were aged from 3 to 12 years old. And 10 of these children were 3 years old. And the first time I witnessed Indiana Governor Mike Pence rape and murder a child, it was a 3-year-old boy. And you say, well, how do you know his age? Well, I knew it was, a little boy, but later, way later, like 5 or 6 months, 7, 8 months, I don't remember exactly when, then I was able to go back and read the DNA of the child and determine what his age was. And then 3 other children were delivered to the Albuquerque MILAB by ICE, which is another child trafficking agency, and all 3 of these children were Mexican girls, and they were raped by 6 ICE agents. And the other children were dispersed. It was Roswell, Dulce, Albuquerque, and Crawfordsville. And 36 of these children were taken to Roswell, the Roswell MILAB, and they were gang raped by a group of 431 males, all military. And these 36 Mexican children were raped a total of 1,292 times. And this is why I practically go insane every day, because this just freaks me out. Every time I read this, I don't know even how I deal with this, all this anger. And this took over 8 hours. And they were all military and all in Roswell to finalize the new plans to put 98% of Americans into the FEMA Nazi concentration camps. Because the dark side knows that this planet is shifting into the 5th dimension, which is supposed to happen really soon. I'm getting like within 3 months, 3 to 4 months. And they want to do everything they can to stop this. And I think that basically the main plan is by causing a huge amount of pain and suffering that it will be enough to stop. Because they've done this before. We've been in a higher frequency on this planet before, and that's how they did it before. And, like when the Anunnaki infiltrated Atlantis, they, started, manipulating all their dark side energy, and then they nuked Lemuria, and it fell into the sea, which is a huge continent, which the peak of that is modern-day Hawaii. The rest of it's underwater. And they're tried and true. Reptilians always do everything over and over, and they always do it the same way. We're talking thousands and thousands of times. Even if they fail, they'll do it the same exact way every time, and it's enough to drive us humans absolutely bonkers, because it's just like, you did it 10,056 times and you failed every time. Why are you going to go back and do it again the same way? And they don't care. They're like robots. They're stupid, they smell, and they're horrible. They're stupid, and they're ugly, and they stink. I hate these dark entity reptilians. And, like I said before, these machines who I saw them remotely, but these new machines, they're not going to kill, they're not planning on killing us the same way as they did in Nazi Germany. These new machines cause a lot more pain. They're basically torture devices, but they also murder in a much cleaner, efficient way, so they don't have to deal with the bodies the same way they did last time. Which, by the way, none of this is going to happen. None of this is going to come true. But they don't realize it, but they're fighting tooth and nail to make it happen. And then, just like the Archons, who used to steal the souls of children, well, the Reptilians did too. I remember one time I pulled 267 souls of children out of former CIA director, American director, John Brennan, who murdered well over 1,000 people by assassinating them. He was a monster. He was literally a monster. He was arrested. And so was Keith Alexander of the NSA. A lot of them, 819 were arrested. Thank you, God, so much. But they had these things. They want to trap human souls, which is another type of energetical torture. So they want to murder like 330 or 40 million people that are here in America or whatever. They want to kill 98% of us and make it the worst possible murders that you could ever imagine. And they have some really painful torture weapons, I know from experience. And then they want to put our souls in these type of, entrapping things, kind of like on Ghostbusters. But they, would then continue to torture us, and because they feed off the frequencies. Because I hear this all the time. We are here to feed off the humans. But they keep getting arrested over and over again. And then Dulce, 19 children were gang raped by a group of 176 males, all military, and again, they were gathered to summon Satan, Baphomet, and Lucifer. And all children were killed by reptilians brought here to help, do this concentration camp murder. And then, I mentioned the 3 children in Albuquerque, and they were gang raped by a group of 51 males. Those 3 little Mexican girls of DARPA, CIA, FBI, TSA, DHS, and all 3 of those little Mexican girls were killed by reptilians. And then Crawfordsville was the last MILAB for today, where 21 children were gang raped by a group of 136 males, all military except for Texas State Police and 3 CEOs. And all these children were also killed by the reptilians that were brought here. And they partially eat the children. They don't eat like the bones and all that stuff. They just eat what they want to eat, and then they discard the body, because the reptilian humans consider most of our children trash. And, they like to rape the child. They usually choke the child to death during rape. They like the death of the child to be at the same moment that they ejaculate into the child, because they get a really big high off of that. And then they basically get up and walk away, and then a DARPA employee comes up, picks up the body, and they throw the child into a tank, because they consider our children trash. And then, but to end on a higher note, this morning, it's happening so fast now. This morning we had 72 reptilians and here on the planet from other worlds. And then by midday, a little bit after noon, maybe 2 or 3 o'clock, I'm not really sure when, but we were down to 48 because they had been transfigured and processed to be taken up. And it's going really fast now. It's really cool because before, when this would happen, like when here in Thorn Creek, Indiana, the Galactics would say, okay, go to another part of the house. We want you to go over there. And then the Galactics would come in, and then they would take the Reptilians up, or the Insectians, or whoever was being arrested at the time. But now, it's just like, I don't know if it's because it's happened so many times. It's like, oh, where are 7,000 times we've done this? Arrested these Reptilians coming in. I mean, it's just over and over. I'm like, why don't they just bring everybody all in? We can just do all this at once. No, it's like, we're going to bring them in 12 at a time, 10 at a time. We're going to keep doing the same thing over. I'm a Sagittarian and I hate repetition. I mean, I love people who work in factories. I could never, ever work in a factory because I can't do the same thing twice. It literally makes me nuts. It's worse than the weapons, and they're pretty horrible. And then 56 more Reptilians came in, which brought the total, which is 8:30 tonight, 8:30 Wednesday, what is it, the 16th. Then we had 104 Reptilians here from other planets. And by 9:10, there were 11 left because they kept coming in. We did this thing, several groups came in, and we got them ready. The Galactics arrested them. And then we did this other thing with the Sacred Fire, which is super, super powerful now. And there were 3 groups of Reptilians. They were out, I think it was in Denver, and then Crawfordsville, and then another was I didn't really check, it was one of the Washington, D.C. locations. And so we transfigured them remotely, and then they were arrested. And then at 9:10 p.m., because normally I don't keep track of this, it's why bother, but I thought I would do this for people so they could understand a little better, a little more clarity. And so you can go check out the details for yourself. At 9:10, there were 11 arrested left. And most of these have been arrested in New Mexico. Oh, I'm sorry, they were in Dulce, not Denver. New Mexico, Texas, Virginia. Oh, it was Langley. But most of them have been arrested right here in Indiana. Yay! Finally, we're doing something right? After raping and murdering almost 13,000 children now have been gang raped and murdered at the Indianapolis MILAB child trafficking operation, which has been in operation for 27 years. And it's not even the longest one. At 10:16 p.m., there were 7 Reptilians left. And boy, there's never a dull moment. You know, when I lived in New York and Miami, because I'm from Indiana and I moved to the East Coast for 15 years, and I would joke about, I was like, I know I'm probably going to move back to Indiana. It's going to be so boring. Oh my God, was I wrong? There's never a dull moment in Indiana. There's so many species of so many people doing so many things. And it's like, oh my stars. But thank you so much for your prayers because they've really, really, really helped. And I can't wait until you see the evidence. And I know some of you already have because you made an intent to see the truth. And all of this is on public record, can be verified at the Hall of Justice, the Hall of Records. You can go to the Hall of Research, which is like a wonderful college. It's like a university. You can research anything there. And, if you have questions, if you want to verify what happened to the dinosaurs. And because what the information that I saw, it was like they couldn't wait to, make a bigger and badder ass dinosaur. It was like, well, I'm better and smarter than you, and I'm going to kick your ass, so I'm going to make a T-Rex, so they just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But, like I said, the dinosaurs I met were, all pretty nice. But anyway, that's another story. So God bless your hearts, and thank you for supporting the end of MILAB child trafficking operation, which is operated by DARPA and the CIA with help from the FBI. Thank you very much.